The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the hosts, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third-grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter for the stuff it buys. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now.
Get your money mind right. Today's show is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at unlockyourwealthradio.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by. We are so glad to have you. I'm Heather Wagenhals, flanked by my producer extraordinaire, Michael Terry.
Howdy, howdy.
And we will help you get your money mind right on today's show with the following great features. First off, if I can find my piece of paper, I set it down. We have this week's key is hope for the best plan. No, wait a minute. Yeah, hope for the best plan for the worst.
Don't look at me.
It's our sixth key. That's all I know. It's key 6. It is.
That's true.
It is key 6. So hope for the best, plan for the worst. Where am I today? Our moolah word of the day is about estate planning. Estate planning.
Good show to be listening to.
I think so. Minutes on your money. We're going to talk about why your parents don't want to talk to you about their finances. Ooh, I know the answer from my own father because, my brother and I would say, well, who's like the executor of the will and all of that stuff. And my dad says, I'm not telling you. We would ask him how much is his life insurance. And he goes, I'm not telling you any of that stuff. And we're like, why? And he goes, because I don't want you waxing the heels of my shoes when we go out on the boat. So that was kind of always his thing. So now we'll help you explore why your parents don't want to talk to you about their finances. Our trivia question, as always, based on a previous show, which would be take emotion out of the picture, last week's key. And our guest today is financial planner Chris Costello, and we're going to talk about what he does at his website, blueooom.com. Blue-oo-oom. It's the bloom with 3 O's. That's why I was like, blue-oo-oom.
Isn't that a famous song, Blue-oo-oom?
Is it?
No, Blue Moon is it?
Oh, is it Blue Moon? I was going to say, but we can make it a famous song. Now we have a project. We're going to make a song, Blue-oo-oom. As always, we will talk about your money, your credit, and how to get ahead in any economy somewhere in between the idle chit-chat between Michael and I. We will also show you how to manage your money easier, saving time and reducing stress using these proven techniques for you to create unlimited wealth and happiness. Insiders Club members are entered automatically in our weekly giveaways. However, if you are not a member but would like to compete for great money management tools, all you have to do is answer today's trivia question correctly. And this week's trivia question is, in Take Emotion Out of the Picture, we talk about passion, and we want to keep our passions in perspective. And so we want to be passionate about what and devoid of emotion about what. We talked about it. There's these two things. We want to be passionate about blank and dispassionate and unemotional about blank. So if you think you have the right answer, all you have to do is call in, chat in, or email in to win. To call in, that number is 1-866-966-9420. That's 866-966-9420. If you're listening live, you can hop in the chat room. Hi, I'm here. Come visit. Or you can take and you can email in to win. If you are listening from a podcast and not a live source, you can still walk away a winner. All you have to do is send us an email with your potential right answer to trivia@uywradio.com. That's trivia@uywradio.com. And if you have no idea what the answer is, everyone can still walk away a winner. All you have to do, Unlock Your Wealth Radio Nation, is Audible is offering a free audiobook download and 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Start yours today at our website. Just visit at unlockyourwealthradio.com/free book. So today's Minutes on Your Money, let's take a look at, we're talking about your parents and that personal finance conversation. So have you had that conversation if your kids started asking you, Dad, how much you got, how much you worth?
No.
No?
My kids don't go there at all.
Okay.
Is that typical for kids to do that?
Well, you're so healthy and vibrant, it's probably not going to occur now. But it's exactly when it should occur, while you still have all your faculties and all of that stuff, because once you start on the downstroke, you're going to perceive it as, oh my God, they just can't wait to let go. They're going to suffocate me with a pillow overnight.
I mean, I've talked to them. I've opened up the discussion.
Okay. About
the fact that I do have a life insurance policy in their name, and we've talked about,
Okay. Because you have unique, marital situation and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So you'd want them to know that they're being taken care of or whatever. So
enough to bury me anyway.
Sink me in the hole. Yeah, I have one of my girlfriends has parents that are very wealthy, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna legislate and control the finances from the grave. You will not be driving a Ferrari to our funeral."
Yeah. There you go.
So I think that's good. I just finished reading the book on the Hiltons, the Hilton family legacy. It's pretty amazing. He didn't want his family to inherit his money. He wanted them to inherit his work ethic. And so 97% of his estate went to charity.
Wow.
3% is all he gave away. And it was contested too. And he had a clause in there. This was like a cool thing. He had a clause in there that if you contest the will and you lose, guess what? You don't get what you were originally going to get.
3% of what his estate was probably halfway decent.
Right, but his sons Barron and Eric really kicked butt in their lifetime. What I thought was really cool is that Barron went to get a job. He was the younger son. Nicky was already working in the business, and his dad offered him $250 a month, and he says, "Well, I can't live on that. I need $1,000 a month." And he goes, "Well, that's what the starting is for a manager." And he goes, "But I can't live on that. I need $1,000 a month." And he's like, "Well, then you need to make your own way because you're not going to get it here."
Yeah.
And so Barron wound up creating his own empire. He wound up ultimately going to work for his father and running the hotel chain. But what was really cool is he was a self-made man.
Wow.
He wasn't attached,
that is cool.
even down to Paris. Paris got the name, Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
But she didn't get the money. And she's the great-granddaughter.
Yeah.
And stuff. And she built her own wealth. She was not, she got in trouble. She was
She sure did.
But like growing up, they say that her life kind of mirrored Conrad's. She wasn't good in school. She was a troublemaker, that sort of stuff. But she wound up creating her own empire and everything. But I thought that was really, really interesting. It was a great book. It was huge, but I couldn't set it down too. I picked it up. My girlfriend Beth gave it to me, and before I knew it, I was like, "Oh my God." But it was amazing how he handled his estate, but that he wanted them to inherit his work ethic, not his money.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and he saw that through.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
But typically parents avoid the personal finance conversation with their adult children to prevent their children from relying on their future inheritance, according to Fidelity's Intrafamily Generational Finance Study. The study and article also found that many parents are not as concerned about their retirement as they should be, with 70% who indicate that they do not know how much money they will have to live on in retirement. Adult children play a role in this unknown, as well, significantly underestimating the value of their parents' estate by more than $300,000. Parents still want their children to learn financial self-reliance, which is one of the reasons why they don't want to upset anyone during this topic, labeling the, quote, money talk as a traditional and private conversation that should not involve children. However, it is important to have the conversation of retirement and elder care planning early on and checking back often to see any updates or additional decisions that may need to be made. So like long-term care kind of stuff and, healthcare directives like, do you want to survive on life support or do you just want them to pull the plug and say, sayonara, sweetie?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. One benefit of discussing money, though, is having greater confidence in the plans chosen, with 93% of the parents who have discussions with their children about wills and estate planning said it brought them greater peace of mind, and 73% said it would help their children's emotional state of mind as well. Children can also benefit from these conversations, learning their parents' financial habits and plans for when the time comes and the adult child needs to make the financial decisions. The most difficult part of the conversation, though, may be around end-of-life decisions, but ignoring the talk is definitely not the solution, as adult children should be paired to approach this topic gently. I remember when my father was on life support, and he'd been on for an extremely long period of time, and I had to have this talk with my stepmother. I'm like, well, what did he want? Did he want to live like this? Because he's in a coma. They had to keep him there because he was in pain. So he was alert, but they had to keep him in a coma because he was having so many problems with his heart and he couldn't breathe on his own. And she's like, well, I don't know. She goes, I'm sure he'd want to stay alive. And I'm like, how do you know that? You never had that talk? Yeah. And she never did. And I said, well, isn't there a healthcare directive? What does his will say? And stuff. And she was just deer in the headlights. I know. And so you got to do that. I mean, it really complicated things when he passed because of all of the kids from different families and all of that stuff. So you really got to make sure that regardless of how difficult it is, once you have it, you don't have to have it again. Yeah. Guess what? It's done. Right. It's over with. And it's like, whew. And then you'll feel better because you'll know that people aren't keeping you alive when you didn't want that, especially because, like I said, he was coherent. He was aware of what was going on. Yeah. So can you imagine being aware of what's going on and not getting your wishes fulfilled? I mean, it would just really suck, I think. Yeah. So when you finally have the conversation, use the voice, not vote rule, meaning that you can have a role in the planning process, but make sure you're not the one deciding what your parents should do, but rather suggest and accept their financial and final decisions. Having this conversation early on, asking as many detailed questions as you need to better prepare your family and their financial future will be beneficial to you. And as a matter of fact, we had a guest on that talked about all of this stuff, and he has a really cool workbook, and I can't think of his name, but on this show page, I'll make sure that we have that link to that workbook. Yeah. I'll make sure that we get that up because it'll help facilitate that conversation. That. Yeah, it's great, and he's got a great workbook. So all you have to do is visit our website at the show page if you're listening from a podcast, so you can get all of that stuff to help you start making that decision. We have minutes. Well, we just did minutes on your money. You were the one on vacation, yet I'm the one out to lunch. It's kind of funny. So we will have Moolah Word of the Day, our guest Chris Costello, and the Keys to Riches coming up after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt again like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on Fort Myers Beach Radio for your morning cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts as we are in for some turbulent weather ahead.
Bill Thomason is the Valley's premier business coach. Bill can help you ride out the turbulence your business may encounter. Bill Thomason is the America's premier executive coach and strategist. Bill can help you create the life you will love living. Over more than a quarter century, Bill has helped thousands of people just like you to achieve success beyond what they had imagined. Now is the best time you will ever have to decide what you want and to take powerful action toward achieving the outcomes you desire in your life. Bill has studied the success patterns of the highly successful people, and he has provided coaching and training programs to small business people and to top Fortune 500 executives across the U.S. and Canada. Now you can benefit from Bill's experience. If you are like most people, you may just need the professional encouragement a coach can give and a real plan for creating the outcomes you say you want in life. Call Bill now, 602-321-7192 to schedule executive coaching sessions.
Thank you for flying NLP Skills Training Institute.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am your maven of moolah, Heather Wagenhals. And it is time for our moolah word of the day. And it's actually a phrase. We have two words, estate planning. And our moolah word is simply the preparation of a plan of administration and disposition of one's property before or after death. This is including wills, trusts, gifts, powers of attorney, etc. Oh, and one of the things that's not included in here, but has to be in there, is those healthcare directives. Do I want to be kept alive at all costs, or do I want to just have you pull the plug? If I can't live on my own, I can't live.
Yeah.
So that's an important thing to decide for old age. So, it's pretty simple. It's part of our 5 areas of concern. So estate planning is our 5th area of concern. It's asset preservation. And it's about creating a legacy, and it's about having the power to choose what goes on with your stuff versus letting some stranger in a robe and a curly white wig make that decision. Yeah, with the gavel. All right, so who wants a guest? I want a guest. All right, so you don't want a guest?
Everybody wants a guest.
Everybody wants a guest. Yay! So how about Chris Costello? Chris has been working with individual clients and building portfolio allocations for almost 2 decades as a certified financial planner. 10 years ago, he founded the Retirement Planning Group, a registered investment advisor, and now today manages over $500 million for clients. That's $500 million for those of you that like it simpler. For clients in and around retirement age. 18 months ago, Chris, along with 2 others, co-founders, decided to create a new company that would specifically address the epidemic problem in this country of younger people not having access to quality investment advice. Thus, Blue Oom, a web-based company, was created and recently launched with the mission of helping young clients with their most important financial decision, the investment allocation of their company 401k. Nobody ever talks about what to do with your 401k.
No.
Nobody. But the decisions you make with that can probably be pretty significant.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I am so excited. Let's welcome Chris Costello to the show. Chris, welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. It's so great to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Heather. I appreciate you having me on.
I'm so excited to have a financial planner that's looking to help millennials and those in their 20s and 30s to kind of start the financial planning process, because I agree with you that our focus is, because of the crash of the market, the baby boomers, it's like, oh, can they retire? But we're focusing on them, and I feel like we're leaving out the younger people, and we're missing the mantra that they need to start now. And if they start now, the whole early and often and rule of 72 can play in their favor, so they don't have to freak out when they get to their retirement age. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I say this frequently, that I think that there's an epidemic problem in this country brewing, and you're starting to hear some smatterings of this talked about in a variety of different ways. But, Heather, you mentioned the baby boom generation, which we've always heard is such a gigantic segment of the population, which it has been. I think there's almost 80 million people that make up the baby boom generation. But not a lot of people know that this kind of generation and a half or so that trails the baby boomers, those folks that were born, say, 1966 to about 1992. So today that'd make those people, that'd be a 22 to 48-year-old today. 113 million people make up that demographic. So
that's me. I'm in that demographic. Gen Xer right here.
Gen Xer?
I'm a Gen Xer. 69, baby.
Yeah, I am too. I'm 41, right? 1973. So that puts us all in there. And so this generation, you know, we've always focused so much, just like you said, about the baby boomers. And in fact, my firm that I founded 10 years ago called the Retirement Planning Group, we are a traditional wealth manager firm that caters to that demographic. But about a year and a half ago, myself, my business partner, and somebody that a very good friend of ours who's very good with technology sat down and said, you know, there's all these younger people, this huge, massive chunk of our population that badly needs financial advice, but they generally don't have the big, huge account balances where they can access a traditional wealth manager, certified financial planner. And so as a result, all these people are out there having to cobble together their own advice. Sometimes we joke and we call it the brother-in-law advice. You know, the brother-in-law, that's the know-it-all. They go to them for advice. And these people are in a very precarious situation. I hate to say it, but 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, about half the population was working for a company that would pay them a pension in retirement. You know, you retire, you get a gold watch, and you get a check a month for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
well,
and
today,
you don't even hear that P word anymore.
No way. If Heather, if you had a social gathering and you invited 100 of your best friends over for a party, and at the party you said, all right, raise your hand if you're going to retire with a pension. My guess is fewer than 10 out of those 100 would say yes. And it would probably be your friends that are maybe teachers or firefighters or police officers, maybe some government employees.
Post office.
Yeah.
Post office, exactly. The rest of us, the over 50% of the U.S. population that works for small business, and then even the Fortune 500 companies, we read about all the time how they're shuttering their pension plans and going from a pension plan, a defined benefit, over to a defined contribution, the thing that we're very familiar with, 401k plans. And so my point in saying this is you've got 100 million people out there, and the vast majority of them, the responsibility is 100% on their shoulders to save enough for retirement and to save it the right way. And that's the problem that needs to be talked about more today.
You're absolutely right, because if you think about it, that is the demographic that needs the most education. And we're sitting here worrying about whether or not baby boomers are going to be able to play golf, like an extra round of golf each week.
Oh, correct.
And yet, what's going to happen when this class, this generation of folks hits retirement age? Clearly, we're not going to have Social Security. It's going to be busted before we get there. But with that many more people clueless about how to even maximize any 401k or contribution plan, what's going to happen to us when we hit that retirement age? I mean, is how much more impoverished folks are we going to have? How many more problems are we going to have? With the footloose, fancy free mentality of the millennials, and I didn't even have kids. It'd be hard pressed for me to rely on any kid unless my nephew feels any compassion for his old auntie. So, I think that needs to be the focus. And we talk about, the greatest generation. And what about the rest of us that are still here and we're approaching that? And, I know that there are folks in their late 30s and 40s that haven't saved yet.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. I think here's what I think is going to happen. Let's just say that Social Security will still be there in one way, shape, or form. Let's have that assumption. It may look totally different, but here's what's going to happen. You have, let's say, somebody that's 22 years old to 45 years old, roughly in that demographic. and they're not saving in their 401k, which is the most logical first step place to start saving for a variety of different reasons. And so they get behind the 8 ball, they have a mortgage, they start having kids, they have car payments, all these other things, and so the 401k just keeps getting pushed off and pushed off. And so what happens is they could be still making decent income. So let's assume the husband and wife maybe are making $100,000 between the two of them. That's kind of, they get used to living off of that lifestyle. And the problem is they roll up to a traditional age of, let's say, 60, and they're looking to retire. And in a few more years, maybe they can get Social Security. And so they're saying, okay, at 60, maybe we work till 62. We can take an early Social Security. Between husband and wife, we'll get $30,000 a year from Social Security. And then, oh, well, we didn't save enough in our 401ks. And so we're not going to be able to rely on that for very much money at all. And so what ends up happening is these people are going to get to that age, and they're going to face with one of two things. Is A, they're going to have to figure out how to take a massive reduction in lifestyle. No longer can we spend with the $100,000 equivalent. We got to find a way to live on $30,000, or they just flat out won't retire. They can't retire. I think that's what a lot of these people in this generation are headed to without the pension. And unless they take control of their 401k savings or savings in general, that I think is what's going to look like the picture for a lot of those people. And imagine the social problem that's going to bring about in another 30 and 40 years if we've got an entire generation, an entire demographic of people that are not financially going to be able to support themselves to the level they once were.
Well, I just look at how many retirees are currently working. That gambled and lost, made ineffective decisions, sold low, bought high, and kind of defied every basic investment principle and concept there was on the planet. And so they're out there working again. And so, compression of morbidity, is, I keep using this term over and over, but we're going to live longer and we're going to have a higher quality of life as we get older. So we're going to be still wanting to do things. And so that's going to require money. And if we don't have the money now, we're definitely not going to have the money later. And I don't know if you see this in your practice, but one of the things when I start coaching stuff, especially some of these high income earners that I work with that have 401ks, and they're missing the 50 to 100% return out of the gate by employer matching. I mean, that just boggles my mind.
It is more than that. It's actually, so yeah, the return you're talking about when people don't contribute the minimum to the 401k to get the match, not only are they missing that free match, but as you know too, they're also missing that tax savings by putting that in pre-tax. So it's north of 100% rate of return just by putting money in and getting your company match. And that's the message. The message is starting to get out about the importance of saving in the 401k. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you work hard to get people to save. They finally part with these hard-earned dollars. Maybe they don't put enough in there, so maybe we encourage them more to keep participating, to keep putting more into it. But then the problem becomes, and this is where the company that we created called Bloom comes into mix. These people have got finally parted ways with this money and are investing in their 401k, and then they put it all in a money market or a bond fund.
Yeah. And they're like 26 and you're like, what the?
They're 26. Yes, exactly.
Well, let's talk more about what Bloom does after the break, because you're hitting on something that's super critical. And we are in a transient society these days, not just domestically where we live, but where we work. We don't spend, 25, 30 years with a company any longer. And what happens to all of those monies? And do we get itchy palms when we have a rollover issue? You are listening to Chris Costello on Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and we'll be right back with more after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
I'm Heather Wagenhals. Too much month left over at the end of the money? Tired of paying off debt like a slave? Then tune in to my 1-minute update on the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Network for your cup of money motivation. And for more tips, visit crackingyourmoneycode.com.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts as we are in for some turbulent weather ahead.
Bill Thomason is the Valley's premier business coach. Bill can help you ride out the turbulence your business may encounter. Bill Thomason is the America's premier executive coach and strategist. Bill can help you create the life you will love living. Over more than a quarter century, Bill has helped thousands of people just like you to achieve success beyond what they had imagined. Now is the best time you will ever have to decide what you want and to take powerful action toward achieving the outcomes you desire in your life. Bill has studied the success patterns of the highly successful people, and he has provided coaching and training programs to small business people and to top Fortune 500 executives across the U.S. and Canada. Now you can benefit from Bill's experience. If you are like most people, you may just need the professional encouragement a coach can give and a real plan for creating the outcomes you say you want in life. Call Bill now, 602-321-7192 to schedule executive coaching sessions.
Thank you for flying NLP Skills Training Institute.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am your maven of moolah, Heather Wagenhals. And I'm so excited to have Chris Costello on with us from BlueOom.com. It's Bloom with 3 O's.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so BlueOom. So make sure they get all of those O's in there for that Bloom. So now, so Chris, tell me, so I'm in my early 20s and I have a 401k at my company, and I just listened to you guys in the last segment shake your finger at me because I'm not maxing out my instant returns by employer matching. And not only do I have this thing that I can contribute to and my employer is going to contribute to, but now I have all of these choices. So, do I have to leave my money in this 401k or and can I push it out, or do I only get to touch it when I quit or I'm asked to leave? Maybe not so nicely. You must go now. So how does all of that work? Because I'm in my 20s and I'm confused.
Okay, so the first thing is, the big part of the battle is encouraging you to start contributing to the 401k, and it's always the hardest to start. So, we sometimes tell young people when they go to work at a company to whatever job offer you hear, train your mind to hear something 10% less. So if you're applying for your first job and the manager says we're going to pay you $50,000, just pretend that you heard $45,000, and then use that 10% right out of the gates and for the rest of your life to contribute to your 401k.
But I was going to go tell all my friends I was making 65.
They'll never know. They'll never know. So if you're already working and you're not contributing, let's first get you at least to contribute the amount in which you will maximize the match from your employer. If you don't know what that is, I'm sure certainly information you could find out. And so let's say you find out that your employer is going to make matching contributions on your 6%. So let's you get you in there and signed up to put that 6% of your paycheck into your 401k. So now you're parting with these hard-earned dollars. You agree that you need to start saving for your retirement. It's hard to do, but you've signed up for it. You've now got your money that you could take, you're foregoing and putting into the 401k.
But I'm not going to see it, so that's the bonus. I'm not going to see it to really miss it.
You're not going to see it, and you got to have it, because we talked about in the first segment, you are most likely right now not working for a company that's going to pay you a pension. So if you want to retire at some point with any type of continued lifestyle that you would be used to, I'm telling you right now, it's on your shoulders and your shoulders only to take care of. And so you've got this money, you're putting it into the 401k. The problem, Heather, that we see time and time again, and I've been in this business 19 years, and I'm like I said earlier, I'm 41. So for the last 19 years, I've had a lot of people, friends of mine that would come to me and say, Chris, will you look at my 401k allocation and tell me what I should invest in? So I take a look at their statement, and Heather, I can't tell you how many times, like 80 or 90% of the time, I look at these smart friends of mine, and they've got their 401k allocation materially jacked up. A 26-year-old or 28-year-old has got $32,000 in their 401k, and it's all in a bond fund, earning 1.5%. I've seen situations where
that's not even outpacing inflation.
No way. They're actually losing money if you factor in inflation.
Yeah.
And so it's like, gosh, you've worked so hard and you've parted with this hard-earned money. Let's at least make sure it's working for you properly. So I've been in this business for like I said, about 19 years, mainly helping people with north of $1 million, the baby boom generation. But a year and a half ago, myself, my business partner, and our IT friend created a company called Bloom. And like we were joking about, it is spelled with 3 O's, Bloom.com. What Bloom does... I'm going to start pronouncing it that way, too, by the way.
You heard it here first.
So, exactly. So what Bloom will do is Bloom takes your existing 401k. You don't have to open up accounts elsewhere. It takes your existing 401k with your existing employer. You basically give Bloom the authorization to manage it for you. So the same advice that I would give to a client sitting across the table from me in my conference room that's got $1 gazillion, we coded that into an algorithm and then now can give that exact same advice to somebody that's got $3,000 in their 401k. So I've got almost 2 decades of investment and financial planning advice. We can now deliver that scalable through Bloom. And the cost on this is very atypical Wall Street because a lot of it is technologically driven and scalable. The price for this is $10 a month. So it's the same cost as you're spending on your Netflix account. You can spend and get professional advice on a young person's most important financial asset, which in most cases is their 401k, their retirement account.
That's an amazing opportunity for folks. And I mean, I can just think of all the dumb things that I blew $10 on. Well, I remember, because you and I are older, so I remember the first nightclub, and we used to be able to go when we were 19, because until they threatened us with pulling our highway monies, you could drink at 19 here in Arizona. And I remember the first nightclub that came into Scottsdale here, and I was out mortified. I became like an instant teetotaler when I had to pay $10 for an alcoholic beverage. And I was like, are you nuts for a drink? I mean, then that's nothing these days. But I remember, at that age, I was like, holy smokes, do you know what I could buy with $10? That's like half of my monthly gym membership.
I remember going to in college, going to the ATM and withdrawing $10. And that
would be like a whole night out. You could go on a date for $10.
Exactly.
My producer is sitting here, Michael's like, yep, and he's probably thinking, gosh, I could have had 2 dates for $10. I remember gas was 65 cents a gallon when I first started driving. I was like, woo! Gosh, $10 would have been like a month's worth of gas, and I had a guzzler.
and now it gets you potentially a chance at having a dignified retirement at some point down the road. You're putting this money away, and now it's going to be invested properly. You finally, these young people that before didn't have access to quality financial advice because they didn't have $1 gazillion in their account, can now get that advice. And it's thanks, in large part, there's a lot of things these days that we're thankful for because of technology. And
technology and math nerds.
Yes. And
it's the algorithm that makes it work.
Exactly. And the technology guys that can figure out how to deliver it. And Bloom doesn't take place, it's not going to substitute for things like what you're doing, Heather, because there's still, we're just touching on one financial aspect of someone's life. People still have a lot of questions. And, sources like your radio show and other places like that are always going to be sources of information for people that are trying to figure out how to pay off debts and how to budget properly and all these other things. But Bloom can take a very important financial asset, and it's like, okay, I can check that off my worry list. I know my 401k is taken care of. Now I can worry about, some of these other things, getting, out of debt and saving for kids' college and those other things.
Well, yeah, especially because, in your 20s and 30s, you're just trying to make your way in the world. Mm-hmm. And, and I can think of so many people, especially the millennials, they're totally, they're philanthropically driven more than they are career-minded. And they're so quick to make a donation, volunteer, help out, and they don't even think about money. They've just almost been conditioned the other direction. Yep. Like, I don't want to talk about money. They're allergic to money. Yet money makes the world go round. And money is a tool that we need to be skilled at using, bottom line.
And the truth of the matter is that they've been experienced to some pretty dramatic financial shakeups. If you think about 2000, 2001, and then again the financial crisis of 08 and 09. So that's squarely in the minds of these millennials here. And Wall Street and the financial industry in general has done an absolute terrible job of connecting with the millennials. If you go to some of the big brokerage firm websites, the Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley, you see that crap about, the picture of the light tower and an older couple walking on the beach, and so these millennials, they don't connect with any of that.
Well, and I don't connect with it. That's not me either.
That's right. The 65-year-old stockbroker in a 3-piece suit, nobody feels comfortable with that anymore. And so there's a number of these technological, driven web-based investment solutions out there, but I'm proud to say that right now Bloom is the only one, at least as we sit here today, that's making the management of 401ks, individual 401ks, marketing to the individual user as our sole focus right now. There's other companies that are trying to manage money online. Bloom's the only one that says, let's be really good at 401ks, because that's really, most people, sometimes that's their only account is their 401k.
Right. And because you can't make a commission selling it, and most people are probably the mindset that I can't make a commission on advising somebody on that. I don't even want to pay attention to it. I want to be busy selling all of my other ancillary products. Well, good for you for taking that initiative.
Thank you. I feel very called in this regard. This started off, the idea, really, the genesis of the idea was helping the kids of our clients, because most of my clients I've got two firms, Bloom and then the Retirement Planning Group, and the Retirement Planning Group obviously is working with the baby boom generation. And Bloom kind of was started with the idea of how can we help our clients' kids in a real manner, and that's really kind of the beginning of the idea was right there.
Yeah, and I get a lot of that from the baby boomers too. Is like, I have failed at teaching my kids about money. Can you do that for me? Yeah, right. Can you fix what I messed up?
I just sent the kids an email about this guy.
Oh, Michael's emailing his kids. Okay, you got to talk to our show guest today.
They both have 401k, so it's like,
Oh, well, that's perfect. Yeah, well, I just brought you 2 customers. Look at Unlock Your Wealth Radio is working for you.
That's great.
Here we go. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on, and your website is blueoom.com, but is there another way that folks can get a hold of you, Chris?
That would be the absolute best way. We're very proud of how the website turned out. There's a 90-second video that lives right there on the front page of the website that explains what in the heck Bloom does for you. I encourage folks to take a look at that as well, too.
And it's perfect for the attention span of a millennial. How awesome is that? Yeah. You're maxing it out at 90 seconds. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the importance of understanding your 401k and sharing the tools you have. For those of you who are driving around without a pencil, never fear. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is here where you can visit Mr. Costello's show page and get the linky links to his website, blueoom.com. Stay tuned for the keys to riches. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and we'll be right back after this.
Commander Marty Logan here from the Top Gun Seminars. What I've learned over the years is that the most successful people in life have coaches to guide them along their chosen path. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Tony Stewart, Tom Hopkins, Kathy Colby all had coaches. Whether it was their father, someone else's father, or another person who helped them to shape their desires into an achievable path to success with a system of accountability where quitting was the only way to fail. Each of these people had someone who didn't see them as they first were, but as the person inside they knew they could easily become. Financial coaching can be the single addition you need to become financially independent. Call the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation now for your free consultation. 1-866-966-9420. That toll-free number again is 1-866-966-9420. Or visit us on the web at www.unlockyourwealth.com.
Heather Wagenhals here from crackingyourmoneycode.com. Tune in to my Unlock Your Wealth update for your daily cup of money motivation. Weekdays at 12:25 during the midday news report on Corey's Hometown Radio, 1370 AM WWCB.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts as we are in for some turbulent weather ahead.
Bill Thomason is the Valley's premier business coach. Bill can help you ride out the turbulence your business may encounter. Bill Thomason is the America's premier executive coach and strategist. Bill can help you create the life you will love living. Over more than a quarter century, Bill has helped thousands of people just like you to achieve success beyond what they had imagined. Now is the best time you will ever have to decide what you want and to take powerful action toward achieving the outcomes you desire in your life. Bill has studied the success patterns of the highly successful people, and he has provided coaching and training programs to small business people and to top Fortune 500 executives across the U.S. and Canada. Now you can benefit from Bill's experience. If you are like most people, you may just need the professional encouragement a coach can give and a real plan for creating the outcomes you say you want in life. Call Bill now, 602-321-7192 to schedule executive coaching sessions.
Thank you for flying NLP Skills Training Institute.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals. And we are at my favorite part of the show. Well, I can't say that because every part's like my favorite part. Yeah. Otherwise I wouldn't have it the way I have it, huh? But this is the freestyle part of the show where I get to wax poetic about your moolah and ways to manage it. How about that?
It sounds like fun.
Yes, it is. Money management is fun and exciting because who doesn't love money?
Yeah.
I mean, they should just go away. If you don't love money, go find somewhere else to live. But if you love money and you're in the United States, you're probably in the best place for that. So this is the part of the show where we have our keys to riches. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome to the broadcast. We're so glad you joined us. Hopefully you're receiving value from today's episode. The Keys to Riches is a baker's dozen of financial concepts that not only teach you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money, it also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt, save and invest, building wealth while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And we do this 1 week at a time, one key at a time from our Keys to Riches Financial Wellness series. And this week's key is hope for the best, plan for the worst. And this is where we're going to learn how to address our 5 areas of concern. One of the biggest problems that we have when it comes to money management or life management in general is fear. And the biggest fear that we have is the fear of the unknown. Okay, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, totally.
And when we think about our finances or our lot in life or our career choice or our relationships, the brain is so amazing in the way it works, but one of the things that it does and it can be not so effective is the way our brain is set up in this 3-brain system. We can tend to get stuck in a comfort zone because the fear of the unknown can be so terrifying for some of us that it is easier for us to stay in the unpleasant known than it is to the potential pleasant unknown.
Right.
And so we kind of self-sabotage and we keep ourselves in this comfort zone. And so the best way to overcome that is to figure out what your fear is and overcome that fear, okay? And when we talk about goal achievement. A lot of people say, make a plan A and that's it, and just, be like, accept no failure and just move forward. But life happens, and not always by choice or design, but more by circumstance. Wouldn't you agree? Mm-hmm. And so as a result of that, what we do is we have to work with the way the brain works. Okay, so that's the whole premise of our brain-based financial literacy. And it doesn't matter if we stay consciously focused on what's ahead of us. The fear of the unknown financially is going to be ruminating in our non-conscious mind. And we have to be aware of that, and we have to work with that. So what happens is we have to take and look at all of these things that we're afraid of, that we won't address consciously, that we keep stifling down, putting off till later, that sort of stuff. And we have to bring it up, and we have to make it known, and then we have to create a plan to address it. So when you go to stay at a hotel, nobody plans on the hotel burning down, do they? No, but in the event of one, on the back of the door is a fire escape plan. Wouldn't you say, like, it's required by law, I think, in most places?
To read it?
Well, that it's there.
That it's there.
But most of us don't read it, right? Because why? Because we're like, what would happen in a fire? Would I need to grab all my stuff? Oh my gosh, do I need to? What if I forget my combination to the safe and I'm panicking? And which way down the hallway do I run? And is it okay if I'm just in the, the hotel robe and not my own clothes? What do I do? Right? So we're like, the likelihood of that happening is slim and none, and we just push it off, and we never ever address that fire escape plan. And so just like we should have a fire escape plan, not just in the hotels, but where is the place that you stay the most? At home? Do you have a fire escape plan? No. Michael's shaking his head no. I do. And I actually had an opportunity to execute it, which amazed me that all of that rehearsing worked, because everybody thought I was crazy, teaching the dog what to do, teaching me what to do. And it's tough, to train a dog how to respond, to stuff like that, because you have to trip the alarm every time, so you get that muscle memory, so that, when the Pavlov's bell rings, the dog salivates. But it works, and it's worth it because you have to get it into that survival brain. So we have to have this financial fire escape plan. And we have to think in terms of that. I remember sitting with my editor and we were working on the book, and he didn't understand this. And I said, if your in-laws get sick or require some extended care and you guys can't afford to put them in the home, they're moving in then, right? And he looked at me like I had 5 heads. and he goes, no. And I said to him, to illustrate this concept, well, does your wife know that? And then it was like, silence, crickets chirping.
Yeah.
I asked the question again, does your wife know that? And it's something he never discussed. But when the situation arises, we're going to have heated discussions at best, and you're going to have violent outbursts on the worst side. And it's all because emotions get engaged and we get into this survival mode, and then we get really protective. Well, how can you do that? That's my parents and blah, blah, blah. And then before you know it, the husband and wife are at war. Right. And these are things that we have to address. We must address these things while we're calm, while we're rational, while it's not going on. So in the event that it happens, we're prepared for it. What happens if your child gets diagnosed with special needs, and then it's not financially feasible for you to take the kid somewhere or provide other alternative care? Somebody's going to have to quit. Is it the husband? Is it the wife? What if the wife makes more? Maybe the husband should stay home, but unless you have this conversation, how are you going to know?
Right.
Everybody's going to get protective. And this is just natural. This is part of our physiology. That's why I say we're biologically set up to fail at long-term money management, because we forget about the critical nature of catastrophe. And it might not seem like a catastrophe to have your parents or in-laws move in for some of you, but others would be like, oh my God. Like, I just know that if I said that, well, I wouldn't want to live with my mother, first off. But if I brought that up to my husband, he would move. He'd be like, I'm just going to go live in her house. We're going to switch, okay? Because that just would not fly in my household, And so since we know this, we have a plan in place in the event that she needs extended care or more intense care, then boom. we've got it all figured out. It's a non-issue. It's a non-emotional thing. And it will not create a hiccup in our finances because we've already anticipated it. And therefore we can prepare for it. And that's the key about this week's key, is that you can prepare for the unknown. And so some people say, oh, it's like Chicken Little, sky is falling. No, because what if the sky does fall? And if it doesn't, that's great because you're focusing on your plan A. But if plan A gets interrupted and you have plan B in place, that's all it'll be, is an interruption. It won't be a complete derailment, and you won't have a train wreck with your finances. And this is what's so critical, and so many people forget about this. So when we talk about this, let's really quickly address our 5 areas of concern from our 4th key, because they kind of go hand in hand. Because part of what we don't do is we don't pay attention to these 5 areas of concern because it sounds creepy or scary or, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm capable, and all these issues come up, so we don't do it. So let's run through those real quick. The first area of concern is our income, expenses, and our credit. We want to make sure that our income is higher than our outgo. And we want to make sure that the only thing on credit, if we don't pay it off at the end of the month, is long-term debt that is building our wealth. So it's investment loans. So it's like the mortgage on your rental real estate property. Okay. Frivolous debt, if you can't pay it off at the end of the month, you can't afford to have it. Bottom line, you need to create a saving strategy to accomplish that. Then the next thing is protections. We have to have the right insurances in place so we can ensure our success and our future financial windfall that we generate on our own. Then we have asset accumulation, which is the beginning of savings in our tiered savings program. And then we have our asset multiplication, and this is where we learn how to invest and create and build wealth. And then finally, like I mentioned with our Moolah Word of the Day, we have the asset preservation, which is creating legacies and minimizing taxes. So it's sheltering income and providing for our future financially for our families and the legacies at which we want to create. So if you address these 5 areas of concern and then think about any other thing that could possibly go wrong in your life, something with your kids, something with your in-laws. Maybe you have a brother or a sister or some sibling that all of a sudden is down on their luck or has a terminal illness. You got something going on. How is that going to affect your life? And you must address that with your significant other, because if you don't, it could be a source for contention at minimum, and maximum, it could be the parting of ways. And we don't want to see that happen, because money shouldn't come between people. Money should be bringing people together for the greater good. So that's it for this week's key. For this week's key statement, key affirmation, and key action item, please visit our website at unlockyourwealthradio.com. And for more in-depth interviews with money experts, strategies, and members-only tools to fix your credit, get out of debt, and have more money and happiness, do whatever other savvy listeners have and visit unlockyourwealthradio.com, where you go to get your money mind right so your wealth and happiness will follow. Become an Insiders Club member today and start receiving the benefits of millionaire wisdom right now. Today's show is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at unlockyourwealthradio.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For Unlock Your Wealth Radio and Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2013 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.